Get smart with your spending with Nucenda's Breeze debit card. We've got your back by offering safe and easy access to your money. Never any hidden fees, just an account that makes sense. Download the Nucenda app to enroll in mobile and internet banking, managing your funds, making person-to-person transfers, and rounding up purchases to save. Visit Nucenda.org to explore Breeze accounts and join our credit union.
New members must be eligible for membership. Equal opportunity lender. Insured by NCUA.
Good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Inside Santa Fe Public Schools podcast. I am Joe Abeyta, and today we have William Rodriguez, known as Bill Rodriguez, here in the Santa Fe Public Schools. And Bill, what's your title?
So officially, I'm the 21st Century Community Learning Center Program Director and Summer Program Director.
Yeah, that's a lot, actually. I mean, you have a lot of responsibilities, right? For your non-summer, welcome, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
For your non-summer responsibilities, what are you overseeing?
So 21st Century Community Learning Centers is a federally funded program that we house at 13 of our elementary K-8 schools. And we provide homework assistance, tutoring assistance, as well as academic enrichment activities, which are created in conjunction with our teachers by our Community Educators Network. So we have partners such as the Computer Science Alliance, Folk Art Museum, Georgia O'Keeffe, Cerise Consulting, New Mexico Museum of Art, just to name a few. And so all of our curriculums are tied to Santa Fe Public School content standards. Our teachers receive training, and we implement those curriculums, and they're all project-based. And so the district uses 21st Century as a small incubator district. So our teachers are trained on new curriculums, and then we see what happens. And so, for instance, teachers are learning about coding, and we're seeing our coding going into regular classrooms. Our 3D printing that our teachers are trained on are going into our regular classrooms. So an example of that is New Mexico history. The teachers use the traditional, let's make a map of New Mexico, let's find out where the pueblos are located in New Mexico. But then we take it a step further and we use 3D printing, and the kids create their own pueblo models, place them on the map. We combine that with our coding of our Ozobots, where the kids code the Ozobot to basically travel to each pueblo, and then they write informative snapshots about the pueblos. And so that's combining, how many skills there, and that's something that not necessarily can happen in the regular school day.
Yeah.
But all those skills are taught through our 21st Century program, and they're slowly incubating and finding their ways into regular classrooms. And so it's really neat to see. It's a hidden gem in our district.
That's definitely, I was going to say, it's definitely enhances the school experience, right?
Correct.
Right, when you're just you go to school, math, English, science, PE, that type of stuff. It could just be your textbook stuff, like kind of the way we were when we went to school. But now this stuff is added in as an accent to it, right?
Correct.
That enriches the experience of the student.
Correct. And all of our curriculums are equally balanced between art and technology. And then you add in the content standards, and it's just a wonderful program.
How long have we been doing this in the district?
We have been doing this since 2001. So
wow. Okay.
We are on our fifth grant cycle. And so it's been a wonderful program. It's not an after-school program.
Yeah.
Many people call it that, but that gives you images of something else.
Yeah.
Whereas, as I always, remind people, we're an out-of-school time program that focuses on academic enrichment.
And it's taken a while. I mean, it's 24 years now?
24 years.
That's crazy. And it has now become something you could see you're benefiting from the fruits of it.
Exactly. And we are, we lead the state as far as 21st Century programs. And I've had the benefit of going nationally and speaking about our program. And nationally, I would say we are one of the best 21st Century programs as well.
That's pretty incredible. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. The summer programming come from this, or kind of like was it a spin-off, if you will?
So when I took over this position in 2021, that was pretty much when we were coming out of the pandemic, and we had a lot of money. So we had an open piggy bank basically. And at that time, 2021, I believe we had almost 21 community partners that we did contracts with, providing all kinds of activities from rock band camp. Oh God, I can't think. 3 years ago, we had Earthworks was doing programming for us. We had soccer camps. We had bookmaking camps. You name the gambit. And then the second year in 23-24 summer, similar. We had a lot of pandemic relief funding that we were able to access, combining that with Title I funding, Title III funding. And so, that's where we really started focusing on, instead of the tail wagging the dog per se, because we had so many community partners that were saying, we can do this, we can do that. And so I basically looked and speaking with Peter McWayne and Mary Massey at the time, I said, we need to kind of structure this a little bit better. And so that's when we started looking at, we need to, what do we want to provide our students, which is kind of an equal balance of academics and enrichment activities.
So this really had spawned from the pandemic, right?
Correct.
And when you guys first started, it was just more it was how many activities did you guys have or programs did you have going at that time?
I would say we probably had a similar amount. We had, 56, 57 different programs at like 14 different sites, but they were all over the place. Some of them were sports camps, some of them were real academic camps, others were artistic camps. But the issue that we were finding is we had, a camp that was operating for 1 week for half a day and only had 6 kids, as opposed to another camp that was running 150 kids for 4 hours a day or 6 hours a day. And so we really had to look at how to structure it where it was more beneficial, not only for our parents, but our students as well as district needs.
What was the biggest need that you saw there the restructure that needed to happen?
Equitability. So we had a lot of programming happening at certain schools, and I was looking at that and saying, what about the other kids? How come they don't get those same activities and those same enrichments? And so, especially this year, because there is no more pandemic relief funding, we're strictly limited to our Title I monies, which is a whole federal funding source. We had to really look, and so we wanted to try and make it best for families. And so we really stretched our limits this year. We're offering 9.5 hours of programming at 4 of our elementary sites, K6, and then we pulled in 5 community partners that are providing services at every single one of those sites.
Oh, wow.
And so it's a really equitable. And so our community partners are We Grow Eco, Cooking with Kids, Resolve, safety workshops, Reunity Resource Farms, and this program is brought to us by the New Mexico Museum of Art, specifically the Vladim Museum, and they're coming in and doing a program called Art Nouveau Fun in the Sun for all 4 of our sites.
So how many students back then, when you guys first started, versus now, how many students are participating? So
the first year we probably had about 1,200 students. Now, and this is a conversation that I'm always having with my supervisors, is we are providing this year 5,227 slots or seats. Those a student may be in 2 of those seats because they're in the academic program, and then they're also doing Cooking with Kids, so that they're getting counted on attendance sheets twice, once for our academic programming and then once for Cooking with Kids, so that way they're getting their numbers for their federal grants that they have to submit to. And so it's a little bit misconceiving when we say 5,227 students. I would say it's probably within 1,000 students of that number. But when we look at it, it's a lot. So a typical site is running 100 to 120 students, and then that is supported by all of our teachers, counselors, nurses, transportation, student nutrition. So, so just for example, on teachers, I believe we are We have 166 students, 166 teachers, EAs, and principals, supported with 8 counselors, 4 nurses, 29 nutrition workers, 53 transportation workers, 14 work-based learning interns, and 8 community partners.
Okay. So with that, was last year kind of the first time that it was a full-blown like program? Because you guys are also, offering, when students are in the program, they're also getting meals as well.
Correct.
There was all cylinders run. Was that the first year? Last year was the first summer that it was kind of the visualization of what you had visualized?
It was the beginning.
Okay.
To a certain extent, the tail was still wagging the dog a little bit.
Gotcha.
Because we still had a couple of programs that were only running 1 week or so. And the other reason why we wanted to go to a more structured system was data runs everything. And so with those 1 week and 2 week programs, half-day programs, we weren't able to get data to see if the students were actually improving in their grades. And so, 19 days of programming isn't a whole lot. That's why this year we incorporated July, which is the first time we've done a July program.
Okay.
And so it's really stretched our resources. So when you're asking teachers you just finished teaching 9 months, you have a week off, you come back, you do 4 weeks, you have a week off, you come back, do 3 weeks, you have a week off, you start school again. And so it's really stretching our resources as far as teachers and their capacity, our principals and their capacity, because along with running all these summer programs, we still have professional development that teachers and principals are still attending during the summer. And so it's a real balancing act, what our summer principals and summer teachers are doing to implement fantastic programming and still keep up with what is, their demanding professional development programs.
So with that, is this going to be a bigger summer than it was last summer?
Slightly.
Okay.
I was thinking we would have less programming because we didn't have pandemic relief funding, but we're right about the same. So last year, I believe we were running 57 or 54 programs.
Okay.
Staffing and everything else was similar. The big difference is that we're adding 3 weeks of programming to the summer. So that's the big difference. And then we also are still running our 3 credit recovery programs at the high schools.
Okay.
We have 1 driver's ed program occurring at Santa Fe High. We have another program that is with the city, a city grant that is funding Ortiz for a 4-week program that wasn't on any of the flyers because it was so specific as far as the funding source, and it was only for Ortiz students. And then we also have a few sites that are opening up and doing their own programs. For instance, Acequia Madre is having their garden camp and little theater camp. That's a pay-for program, but it's separate from our district programs. And the reason for that separation is all of our programs are free of charge and have free meals for the students, breakfast and lunch.
Wow.
That's pretty
awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. It goes back to the whole free lunch program and having that available to kids during the summertime too, right?
Correct.
Because kids get hungry during the summertime as well, right?
They do, and so do families. And so all of our summer sites that are offering meals is open to any student under the age of 18, I believe.
Oh, okay.
And so they don't have to necessarily be in a program. Maybe they're just hanging out with grandma, but grandma doesn't feel like cooking that day, and there's a site close by. They can walk in and get a free meal.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. I was going to say, I know that growing up here in Santa Fe, there was only the city's summer program, right? The kids would go to at the parks, and every high school kid wanted to have that gig for the summertime because it was a pretty easy gig. But now things have they've evolved, right? Where the city does still have their program, but the schools have their program now too, and the schools program is free.
Correct.
That's pretty.
Correct.
That's just pretty incredible. And in today's world, that we were able to offer that to the community.
I remembered the 5th program.
Who's the 5th program?
The 5th program is brought to us by the New Mexico Museum of Art, specifically the Vladimir Museum, and they're coming in and doing a program called Art Nouveau Fun in the Sun for all 4 of our sites.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So and so, what would kids experience in these programs? Can you give me just a couple of highlights that come to mind for you? Like, if my kid goes here, they're going to experience this. If my kid goes there, they're going to experience this. And are people able to pick what school they want to go to, or is it based on the district that they live in?
So the programs are open to any Santa Fe Public School student with an ID.
Okay.
Kindergartners. So kindergartners going into first grade all the way up to sixth grade.
Okay.
They can pick any site, and so each site has kind of its own personality. So, for instance, a Wildcat Camp AM and PM, which is held at El Camino Real Academy, they have academics in the morning, and then in the afternoon they run similar to a 21st century program where they're pulling in those academic enrichment curriculums.
Okay.
Chaparral is hosting our district reading program called Tales and Trails, and so they're really focused on reading and bringing those scores up, and students are being pre-screened to enter that. The afternoon portion is called Firebird Quest, and they're doing a lot of academic enrichment. They'll be doing a lot of stuff with our Apple devices as part of our Santa Fe Creative Coding Initiative, which is an Apple CEI grant.
Yeah.
That is also occurring at Ramirez Thomas, which is our Ramirez Thomas Code Camp, which, kids go there. They're going to be doing 3D printing. We're putting in 24 3D printers. And so that's, kind of Code Camp at RT kind of really takes 21st century skills and puts it to the test. So we have, like I said, 24 3D printers there. We'll have our drones there, our virtual reality goggles, so kids can do career explorations. That we have our Spheros there, our Ozobots, our Indies, and then combined with academics. And then at our Cesar Chavez camp, Academic Explorers. Again, morning's pretty much academics, but then they're really looking at exploring in different ways.
Gotcha.
So,
it's interesting because you have a student that may want to try something like coding, and says, I never really thought about it, but let me try it. This is something where if they get passionate about it, that the district would be able to support them throughout their career,
Correct.
through their experience here in the schools, all the way up to them being seniors. Because I know both, Santa Fe High and Capital do have coding programs there.
Right. Correct.
And so that's pretty incredible that, we could offer that to let the students dip their feet in the water just to see how they like it or not. And if they do and they become passionate about it, that we could support that, for them to continue with it, right? It's not just kind of like hey, I did coding that one time in the summertime, and it'd be really cool if the schools had something like that, and it's too bad they don't. I'm going to have to kind of figure out and wait till college to do that. But I really liked it, but it's good that we can support that.
Exactly. And so
even in performing arts too.
Even in performing arts
right?
too. Yes. And so yeah, that's what's great about summer programming, and is we're introducing students to all of these new ideas and new technologies, and then hopefully their schools are continuing those with during the regular school year.
Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, so just real quick, because we're coming close to the end here, Bill. You guys have a wait list right now?
We have a wait list at all of our sites.
Okay.
We have one site that is finalizing their rosters, but parents are being notified today and tomorrow.
Okay.
And so if you're not sure, if you haven't been notified, you can always email me or call me at my office, and I can track that information down for you.
Okay.
Do you need a phone number?
Yeah.
So my office number is 505-467-2633.
Okay. And then, Bill, and then where can they go to get more information on this at the sfps.info?
Yes. So all of our camps are listed on the district website. For the high school programs, those students go through their school counselors to get signed up for those programs.
And where were they selected on the website when they'd go? Would it be 21st century?
No, it would just be under summer programming.
Summer
and I believe
program.
it's on the front page.
Front page. Okay,
front
great.
Page.
It's impressive what you and your staff do, and also your partners as well. Who are they? Who's helping you out here?
So we're really appreciative of the city of Santa Fe. They provide a large portion of the grant that provides all the funding for our community partners. And then I rely on our different departments. And so Crystal Abeyta and Ryan Cooper are two of the key people that I'm always going to, and they're helping keep me on track. And so, and then our principals and our lead teachers, and we pull it all together for a wonderful summer of programming.
Right. Well, Bill, thank you. And thanks for the background too, man. I learned some stuff here today. So thank you again for coming on, man. That's awesome. Well, congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Folks, thank you for listening. This has been Inside Santa Fe Public Schools podcast. Have a safe week. Have a great week. Adios.